I guess something like that. So, hey everybody, welcome. This is Carmella, and I am so excited to have Akirah Robinson here with me today, and we are here to discuss her book, to discuss some really awesome things about just letting go of bad habits. She is a breakup coach, okay? And she's going to tell us all about that. But first, for those who don't know me, we're going to wait for some viewers to get on because we can definitely see who's on and who's not on. Well, not who, but how many people are on. So as soon as you ladies and gentlemen get on, please feel free to tweet us. Send us an email. Send me an email for those who have the email address, info@carmellamarie.net, or Twitter, which is my at Twitter is carmellamarie30. So send us a tweet. We'll be on there. And your Twitter account, Akirah?
Yes, I do tweet. It's at Akirah Robinson. That's Akirah Robinson. But I'm more active on Facebook, and that would be
okay.
Yeah, and that's hashtag AKI or hashtag / AKIRAH Rob ROB.
Awesome. So we got some people coming on, so I would definitely see that. But
I'm
gonna tell you, I know. Hello, everybody. I'm loving this puff you got going on there.
Oh, thank you. I'll try to keep it tight.
Well, I've got some two-strand twists going on here, but we're making it happen. I love your
twists. They're beautiful.
Thank you. So, while we're waiting for people to come on, we're going to get started. But again, I just want to let you all know I met Akirah in Pittsburgh, actually, at It's a Natural Thing. I think it was this past summer, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if it was like April or May. I think it was nice out. I can't remember quite.
It was April, because I remember it was still chilly.
Okay. I mean, yeah, nice and chilly. I'm used to living up north, so my standards aren't that high in terms of nice weather, I guess.
I understand. Ohio, we're same thing. So I met her there. I didn't buy her book right away because I think I kind of missed you, but one of my friends bought your book and they said they liked it, and I am a proud owner of Respect It, which you can get on Amazon. You can get on her website, AkirahRobinson.com, and she's going to talk to us about that. And when she told me she was a breakup coach, I was like, a breakup coach? Really? That's cool. You know, it kind of tweaked my interest. And I had Akirah to our Let's Talk Hair event that was just this past fall, and we appreciate you for coming. We had, and she dove into some stuff, and I wanted to do a rehash today because unfortunately when you're working the event, it's hard for you to actually sit down and enjoy all the speakers. But I know that and I kind of hit on this, and something that struck my chord is just with the hair piece, because, you know, there are people still breaking up with their perm box. You know that, right? Because there's still some perm.
Yeah.
So from the hair perspective, I love that, and I want Akirah to tell us a little about herself, how she actually became, got into her field of study, and even tell us about your hair journey, because your hair is like super awesome. And one day I want to see it out.
Oh my gosh, it is humongous. I could actually send you a picture because my hair, it's very tight. I have very tight coils, but when I blow dry it and comb it out, it is very long. And it's not like Diana Ross, but it's close. It's getting there. So my hair is very large and in charge. I'll send you a picture.
Okay, please. So with that, and I ended talking about here, like, what are some tips or a tip that you find helpful when you're actually in the process of letting go or breaking it with a perm or breaking it with bad habits?
Yeah.
Tell us, we'll ask that question, then you'll tell us about how, what exactly a breakup coach is and all that jazzy stuff.
Sure. Yeah. So I have, I think, probably two main tips when it comes to breaking up or letting go of something in your life, whether it is a habit or a relationship or, even the way that you style your hair. Anytime that you're trying to let go of something, especially if it's something that's not really healthy for you, I think one of the first things that's really important to do is to find yourself support. You need to identify people, the safe people in your life who are going to encourage you and kind of cheer you on as you're working towards letting go of something. I think the next thing that's probably, really maybe even more important is to set some goals for yourself. If you can set some clear goals, it doesn't have to be a lot. It could be one goal. Usually when I'm working with my clients, I tell them to start with 2 or 3 goals. So I don't want people to be overwhelmed by how many goals they set. But the goals in our lives can oftentimes be healthy distractions, and so they serve that purpose of allowing us to focus on something that's positive, and is putting us in the direction that we want to be, rather than focusing on what it is that we are missing, what we're trying to let go of, so on and so forth. And so those are probably the 2 main things that I say. Obviously, when I'm working with clients, if they're breaking up with a person, if they're ending a relationship, I always encourage them to cut off contact with the person that they're trying to, heal from and move on from. But in terms of like bad habits or trying to start something new in your life, definitely find encouraging people and set some goals that are going to help keep you focused on where you want to be.
I like that. So it's and I think in my bit of reading that I had with setting goals, because you can't replace like kind of like a bad. You have to replace a bad habit because you have that bad habit. You have to replace it with a good habit. So there's something that takes its place, so it can't come back.
Yep.
So that is excellent, and that piece right there, that support system, that is so key. Now, when you were going natural, so to speak, did you have a support system?
I'm trying to think. Because I didn't. And in the beginning, it was really hard because, a lot of my friends, are white, and so they didn't necessarily understand the process, even though they were super encouraging and they would be like, oh, that's really cool what you're doing with your hair. They couldn't understand, personally what the journey was like. And then with my parents, they didn't really understand why, because when my hair was relaxed, I had good hair. And so, my mom and my dad didn't really understand why I would change that or why I would cut it all off.
Yeah.
And so in the beginning, I really struggled. I felt unattractive. I felt alone. And I kind of just was like, I'm going to do this and see what happens. And it wasn't until, I started getting connected. There's a natural hair group in Pittsburgh called It's a Natural Thing. It's a Facebook group. And one of my classmates from my grad program, she was like, hey, I think you should join this group, and we're having a meetup and you should go. And, that was like, I walked into the room and I saw these women, just beautiful women, and we all looked so different, but we all just radiated beauty, and just coming together and encouraging each other and sharing tips and talking about products and, you know, really at the core of it, encouraging each other to love ourselves. That was like the first time I ever really experienced that, you know, as a Black woman. And so from there, my hair journey, it became a lot less isolating. I felt like I was on the right track. I was doing the right thing. I mean, before then, it was like, I'm doing this. I'm committed to this. I want my hair to look like this. But that was kind of like a turning point for me where it was like, my hair looks good. Like, I look good. I look awesome.
Right.
And it was like, I could actually love myself and love my hair. Because I saw other women doing the same exact thing, and they were just figuring it out. So yes, for me, encouragement, like in all areas of my life, it is so important. It's so important.
And definitely setting that goal wherever you are, and I always say that you know, it's everything is always more than just about hair. So it's like letting go of past impressions of who you are and just embracing your natural beauty. And it could be even body type, girl. Body type. I mean, like letting go of those negative kind of, you know, how you feel about your body, what it looks like, and embracing it. And once you start to love it, then you can appreciate it, and then you can move forward in a positive way. So.
Yep.
And I love that and how you explained that. So that's great.
Yeah.
So, how can you actually keep like yourself encouraged when you sometimes feel like you actually make the wrong decision? Because sometimes when you are making that decision and you're in that process, you get to that point, and you said it with the hair piece, but hair is a metaphor for our life. It's what we're looking at right here. So how do you actually keep yourself encouraged?
Yeah. Aside from obviously the support network, I think for me, and this question really resonates with me because I consider myself to be a recovering perfectionist. So I am someone who, whenever I am faced with a decision, I get really, really anxious. I want to make the right decision. I don't want to make mistakes. I don't like making mistakes. It's a really hard thing for me because I like being perfect. That's kind of my kryptonite, personally. And so for me, like I've been like in this process. That's why I call myself a recovering perfectionist, because I'm trying to recover. I'm in this process of, you know, reframing the way I look at mistakes and wrong decisions. And so rather than looking at them as, you know, wrong or, you know, bad or whatever the case might be, being able to kind of just view things as, you know, maybe that wasn't the best fit. And every mistake that we make, there's an opportunity for growth. There's an opportunity to open ourselves up to a lesson. And so I really try to practice that. And I think for me, vocationally, that's the easiest place for me to do that. I feel like, you know, I'm a licensed social worker, so that's my profession. And we really emphasize lifelong learning. And so it's easy for me to be okay with not being a perfect social worker, right? But, you know, when it comes to my marriage, you know, that might be a different story. I don't like to make mistakes or make a wrong choice or admit when I'm wrong. And so it's really just like practicing reframing wrong decisions and mistakes as opportunities for growth. Like, this is a time for me to open myself up, see what I'm learning, see how I can do different in the future. How can I grow from this? How can I assume responsibility? If I've made a wrong decision, did that wrong decision hurt someone else? Do I need to confess that to them and ask for their forgiveness? So it's a humbling process, and I think it's practice. It's kind of allowing it to be practice. And so I find that, me personally, I find that encouraging. Like, And I think it's also helpful to like review the past when you've made mistakes in the past and made wrong decisions in the past, and remember, like, the world didn't blow up. Like, we're still here. I'm still breathing. Things are okay. Nobody died. And just kind of like reminding myself that that can be encouraging of what lessons did I learn in the past when I really messed up, and recognizing that I can learn lessons in this moment as well. So yeah, that's usually how I try to stay encouraged when I make a wrong decision or mess up.
Okay. Which is human.
Yep.
We wouldn't be anything, but okay, I like all of that. And I'm taking notes. So when you see me, I'm looking. I just but we're tweeting. So, and if you are watching and you are on Twitter, again, definitely hashtag Let's Talk Live. And tweet anything that you might like, post on Facebook, and tag us in it. That would be definitely great. And take some notes. Definitely take notes, and this will be up in live. Not live, but it'll be up on the site that you can come and revisit it again. But definitely that. So, the one thing I do want to put in, go back and just kind of, I don't know, drill down, or so to speak.
Sure.
Is opening yourself up and then giving it opportunity for growth. So with that, I think that creates a space of vulnerability. And oftentimes those are spaces that don't open up often. And you do get that kind of that pride, admitting that you're wrong or something along those lines. But it helps you to grow as a person.
Yeah.
Because you're not, I guess you want to say, if someone does tell you that you are wrong, and it's even for like me, it's, I have to take a step back. And as you can see, I got my thinking cap on right now. But we're all so human. But in that growth period, it's discomfort. And like a kid in growing pains. It's got to take it.
Yeah. And honestly, for me, like, I try to remember, like, the people that I admire most are the people who are humble. And so, like, people that I admire are the ones who are willing to admit when they are wrong. And it's like, well, if I admire them for that, then I should be willing to do that, to practice that as well. Not for the sake of, having people admire me, but because I want to embody what it is that I respect and look up to. And so I really try to, like, tell myself that, like, humility is actually strength. It is. We're not really taught that in our society, but in terms of my own values, I know I really do believe that. And so I try to remind myself of that. Like, even though you feel really, really stupid, even though you feel foolish and silly, chances are, if you admit this to someone else, or if you try to make it right, what you've done wrong, there might be other people out there who really admire that and really respect you for that. And it always helps to have self-respect, right? I can respect myself for admitting when I'm wrong. So, yes, my book is called Respected. So, so yeah, it's really important. It's super important.
Right. Well, while we're on self-respected, let's kind of talk about the book. And I'm to be completely honest, because I just gonna keep it real. I didn't read the entire book, but what I have read is really, really, really good. And
Thanks.
And I just and you have you write about Brene Brown, who I was going to talk about because she is like the queen of vulnerability. And
yes, she's amazing.
It's amazing.
She's super amazing. I'm like so proud that her and I are both social workers. I'm like, yes, I'm in your profession. That's awesome. We share a profession. So yeah, what do you want to hear about the book? I guess what I can tell you is, so the book came out about a year ago,
Okay.
November of last year. And really, when I started writing it, I just wanted to write what I wish I had read right after I had broken up with, um, a really significant ex. After I ended this really big deal relationship, I was 25 going on 20, no, I was 24 going on 25.
Okay.
And I had just 3.5, 4 years long. And I was bummed. I felt like a failure. I was heartbroken. I was heartbroken because I ended this relationship, but I was also heartbroken because it was like a loss of dreams for me. I thought that, and this was not a healthy relationship that I had ended. There was some abusive things going on. I was very codependent in this relationship. And so for me, it felt like a failure. Like, how could I not make this work out? And it was also like, I thought that we were going to get married. I thought we were going to have kids. And so I had to mourn this life that I thought I was going to live. And so it was a really low point in my life. A lot of my friends were getting married. And so obviously that didn't help the situation. So I just felt really bummed. And for, the first 6 to 9 months after that breakup, I was engaging in some pretty unhealthy behaviors. I, wanted to be validated by other men, and I was going out partying and drinking and doing all these things from a sense of like wanting validation and needing reassurance from others, as opposed to feeling secure in myself. And so I was reading all these books about how to find your husband and, what you need to do in order to find love as soon as possible, and like all these really, formulaic ways of finding a relationship. And not to like, knock anyone else's work, but given where I was and how insecure I was feeling already, this was not the stuff I needed to be reading at all. I really needed to focus on myself and deepen my sense of self-worth. And so, after I healed from, that relationship and moved forward and, stopped, seeking validation from others, and I stopped, drinking every weekend and things like that. I was in a better place. I was in a healthier place. And so when I decided that I wanted to write a book, I just thought about what it is that I needed to read when I was that 24, 25-year-old woman, and I was feeling lost and alone and just really unconfident in myself. And so that's the book that I wrote. It's kind of like, of course, this book is for women today, but the book is kind of like an open love letter to myself back then. And so, yeah, that's why I wrote it. I feel really passionate about women having a deep sense of self-worth, because I feel like self-worth is the foundation in our lives that kind of keeps us like sturdy, like when we believe in ourselves. And that doesn't mean that you have to be like this strong person who can't fail, or you always have to have your stuff together, or anything like that. But when you're working towards loving yourself, when you're really trying hard to have a sense of security in yourself, as opposed to seeking it outside of yourself, I think that's what you can build on top of, And so that's why I wrote the book. I really, really am passionate about that message, and I wanted to share it with young women. And every day I'm humbled, like the fact that I wrote this book, and there are people out there who are reading it, and they write me emails and they say, oh my gosh, this book really helped me. And I just feel so grateful for that, because yeah, if even just one woman feels a little bit better, or a little bit more hopeful about where she's at, that to me makes it all worth it, So yeah, it's something I'm really passionate. I'm really proud of it, I guess I should say. I'm really proud of it.
But that was all so there were so many points that you definitely touched on, but the deepening your self-worth. You're actually you understand what you're worth, and the impact that you have on your environment around you, on your life itself. So and I know you do things with young ladies and stuff dealing with confidence, because women in general across the board, in comparison to men, and this is just something that I've observed even in kids who are in middle school and stuff, because I did a talent show, the self-confidence of the girls was so much lower than the confidence levels of the guys, and it was astounding. And so it doesn't just start when you're grown. It starts off small, regardless of body type, hair type, even though and people think that they're confident because they're wearing these types of clothes that are revealing, or that they're doing XYZ, but you can put a mask on anything. But it's like so that there's a lot we can get on that, and I won't go into my tangent because we're here to talk to you. But that deepening your self-worth and self-awareness. And then outside, you said something about not seeking outside help, but having that sense of self and seeking it from within, because that's where it lies. So those are all awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. So, what gives you hope to go on? I know I think we tried it. Do you have certain things that you tell yourself? Like, do you have that self-talk type thing?
Sorry, that's my dog. Sorry. Hi. I don't know what he hears. He's upset about something, I guess. Okay, so what do I tell myself? Hope. Hope. Is that what you're?
Yes, that gives you hope to go on. That self-talk. I guess you want to say self-talk. You have a support system, but when that support system's not there, like, how do you say?
How do I sustain myself? Yeah. So I'm trying to think what it is specifically that I say. Something that I'm super passionate about is the concept of self-compassion. And I won't get into it, any of you who are watching this, if you're interested in learning about self-compassion, all you have to do is Google it, and you'll learn a thing or two about it. It's a really great concept that has truly changed my life, especially as a perfectionist. I can be really hard on myself. And so learning how to practice self-compassion has really just changed the game for me. But it's really just about being kind to yourself and treating yourself the way that you would treat a friend who is going through, say you're going through something really, really hard. Self-compassion is treating your friend as if she's going through that hard thing that you're going through. So treating yourself as if you would treat your friend, basically. And so I don't think that there's anything specific that I tell myself. Every so often there might be an affirmation, and I'll say Akirah, you're great, or you're beautiful, or whatever. But mainly what I tell myself is Akirah, be kind to yourself. Be compassionate. You are deserving of compassion.
Yes.
I tell myself be compassionate to yourself so that you can show compassion to others. That's a key theme in my life, self-compassion. I find that you can't really show to others what you're not willing to show to yourself. And so, I really just, I try to remind myself how much better I feel when I'm giving myself grace, when I'm cutting myself slack, that I don't have to be perfect, that perfection is a myth. So these are kind of phrases or themes that I really, really resonate with. And so I try to repeat that to myself internally, especially whenever I'm feeling super anxious, or I strongly desire to be perfect. Self-compassion kind of drives all of that positive self-talk that I give myself.
And I knew you had something. That's why I had to ask you that. I
Yes.
so
Self-compassion is my jam. I love it. The best
pumped it
thing.
up straight away.
Changed my life.
And the word deserve, we don't think we deserve, sometimes, not everybody, but or I can come from, I'm saying this because sometimes we don't feel like we deserve to be happy. We don't deserve to have nice things, but we deserve to look at pretty things around us. We deserve to show ourselves compassion. We deserve that. And that goes back to your worth thing. When you know your value of worth, you know that you deserve that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like why would my friend deserve it and I wouldn't? Like why am I telling her she deserves to take care of herself, or she deserves, a night in to relax, and I don't think I deserve it, and I think that I have to run around like a chicken with its head cut off and try to take care of everyone else and not take care of me. Yeah, it's really like stopping and reminding yourself, like, you deserve to be kind to yourself. And for me, like, that often comes in moments of mindfulness when, like, I'm feeling super, super stressed. I stop and I just, like, practice some deep breathing, and I take note of what's going on around me. And I try to get out of my head and I just observe what's happening. I just had a job interview last week and I was freaking out. And, I just stopped and I did some deep breaths and I really just tried to to be mindful of the moment, be appreciative of the moment. The fact that I got a job interview. There's a lot of people that applied for that job that didn't get job interviews. It's just being grateful and reminding myself that my worth is not determined by, what this interviewer thinks of me, or if they offer me the job or not. I am worth so much more than just any one, job offer or relationship, or how much money I have, or what my bank account says, or what my shoe size is, or my pant size, or if I'm wearing makeup today, or any of that stuff. Like, all of those things make up who I am, but they're not, my whole identity. And so really just reminding myself of those things in those moments of mindfulness, and being kind, being so incredibly kind to myself, because I would want my friend to experience that same kindness and compassion. So that's what I do. That's how I keep moving forward in this, you know, sometimes aggravating world that we live in.
Right. And
Yeah.
I'm sure this is all good nuggets that I'm loving it, and I know everybody listening is definitely loving it.
Thank
And then that one thing, and I'm just probably saying it differently, but just remembering those times of when you do that, showing yourself compassion, remembering how that felt to you,
you.
and you like good feelings, so you do want to remember those small moments of victory when you allowed yourself to not be perfect, or to be, to live in that moment of success when when you're mindful of yourself, like you were saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so now this whole breakup coach thing. So how and when did you decide that you were going to name yourself a breakup coach and go with it?
Yeah. So it kind of happened haphazardly, to be honest. Like I said, I am a licensed social worker. That's my profession. And when I graduated, oh geez, almost 3 years ago, I knew that I wanted to like spread awareness about toxic relationships and really encourage women to seek healthy relationships in their lives. And so I started a blog. I just started writing about stuff online about healthy relationships, and it really was something that I enjoyed. I really, really enjoyed doing it. And one of my internships in grad school was at a domestic violence center, and so I learned a lot from that experience. And it was just information that I wanted to spread to the world. in a relatable way. So I started doing that right after graduation. And sorry, my dog is like, I guess it's raining outside and he's freaking out next to me. So I hope you can't hear him. He's like rubbing up against my leg. Anyway, so I started doing that, and I started getting all these emails like from women like asking me like, oh my goodness, you know, I'm in this relationship, I don't know what to do. And I don't necessarily work with women who are in abusive situations. I often will like tell them you need to go to a domestic violence center near you, because that's going to be the safest route for you. But for women who are just feeling like dissatisfied and feeling like they're settling in their lives, and you know that there's something better out there for them, but they're feeling kind of stuck. You know, these were the kind of women who were reaching out to me and asking me for support and help. And so I was just like, maybe there's something I can do to help these women. And I didn't really want to help women who were necessarily like looking for healthy relationships. Like, I'm not a matchmaker. I'm not a dating expert, you know. Like, that's not my thing. But in terms of healing from a painful experience, you know, I have personal experience with that. I'm a social worker. Healing is, you know, a theme in my life that I really resonate with and I really appreciate. And so, you know, I had my own coach at the time, and she kind of helped me uncover some layers, like, you know, to shed the layers, figure out what it is that I really want. And through my conversations with her, she was like, you know, I think that, you know, maybe you can help women who are going through breakups, help them heal. So that's kind of how I fell into breakup coaching, and started working with women who were recovering from breakups and having a really hard time, and really just kind of holding them accountable to their goals and being there for them, being a support to them. A lot of these women are like, oh my goodness, like, I've been talking about this relationship so much to my friends, and they're tired of hearing about it, and I just need someone who's unbiased, who's going to listen and not judge. And so for a lot of those women, I was that. I was this unbiased, neutral person that they could share anything with. And so, yeah, that's kind of how it all started. And breakup coaching is great because I can work with women, you know, from all over. It doesn't matter. I don't work with women face to face through coaching. I am a therapist as well. So with my therapy clients, I meet them in Pittsburgh face to face. But with coaching, I can work with women over the phone or through Skype. I do emails as well. And so it's really accessible and flexible. And it's something that I really enjoy doing. I really like helping a woman get through a dark period in her life and come out through it on the other side, having learned some lessons and gained some self-awareness and found healing. So yeah, that's my breakup coach story, I guess. That's why I became a breakup coach.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I know that you have reached, I'm sure, thousands of people, because you not only, I saw some of your snips, like the news interview in Australia that you did.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh. And y'all listening here, she is so serious. It is, I guess, it's their today version, the today version in Australia.
Yeah.
Interviewed by them, Glamour, Exo Jane, I think, is that right?
Yep.
That she posts for, and her insight is awesome. Her perspective on things are really great, and I read her articles often. Again, her website is akirarobinson.com. So with that said, because you do get a chance to really just, you know, meet a lot of different women and talking with them, what is like the common string or a similar situation that you often see in women when they're coming to you, and how do you help them address that?
Yeah, I think probably one of the biggest things is that women really struggle with listening out for and trusting their intuition. I think that a lot of women are very quick to ask other people for advice and do what other people want them to do, rather than tuning into themselves and figuring out what it is that they want/need to do. It's that inner voice that speaks wisdom and compassion and kindness to us. And for a lot of women, we just don't know what that voice sounds like. And so with the women that I work with, I encourage them to get acquainted with that voice, which could be a really scary thing to do. And for a lot of women, it might be the first time that they've ever tried to do that. But I really try to encourage them to tune in to their intuition. Like, what's your gut telling you? So many women that I talk to, they're so stumped by that question. They're like, I don't know what my gut's telling me to do. That's why I'm asking you. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to tell you what to do. That's not what I do. I tell you to do what you want to do.
But that helps them take ownership, though, too. Because if you're just saying, hey, do this, you can tell me, you know what I'm saying? I think it's when they actually put it out in the atmosphere and they say it, that helps them to take ownership.
Yep. I say, like, yes, I am an expert in relationships and a lot of other things. I'm an expert. People consider me to be an expert. But every woman, every person has the capacity to be an expert on themselves. We all have that capacity. We have to be willing to refine our self-awareness. That's a huge part of becoming an expert in yourself. And the only way that you can do that is by listening to yourself. And you gotta really figure out what your intuition sounds like. What does it feel like in your body when your gut's telling you to do something or not do something? What does your inner voice sound like? What does she sound like? What does she look like? That could be a really helpful exercise to some folks to kind of think about, you know, if my inner voice, if my intuition was a person, what would she be like? What would she wear? What would she do for a living? What would her voice sound like? And so I really try to encourage women to get acquainted with their intuition so that they can start listening to what it's telling you to do. Yeah, that's a big challenge that I see a lot of women struggle with.
Right, and I think also with that is first and foremost knowing who you are, you know, because if you know who you are, and I say this and this because I was on that road too, you know, just finding out simplest things as not letting somebody else tell you like XYZ, but you actually experiencing that for yourself. So that's what you know you like. And when you do that, you're getting more familiar with who you are, you know? And then for me, you know, prayer and reading the Bible and really having that silent time. Because I think a lot of times the reason why we don't hear, you can say you don't hear your intuition, hear the voice of God, is because we got so much noise. And by noise, even though I need to be on Twitter and Facebook resharing this, watching, but that's just now. But we're talking about some good stuff here. I think Natural 85 talked about how she scrolls an hour every night through Instagram, which is it can be a place of noise. So you're always distracted. There's always lights. There's always TV, there's always all this stuff. You're always versus sitting, and I have my chair, my favorite chair I sit in, and I sit in complete silence.
Yeah.
It's like, but you gotta be comfortable with yourself.
Yeah. And I think another thing that adds noise to our lives is fear. That's like, I think, some of the biggest noise in our lives. Yeah, and this is coming from a woman who, myself, I really struggle with anxiety. I really struggle with fear and wanting to have control. Like I said, that's my kryptonite. Yeah, it's like the outside voices, but sometimes it's our inside voices, and being able to decipher the difference between fear and intuition, or the voice of love, or the voice of God, or whatever resonates with you. For me, you know, I'm a Christian, and so for me, prayer and meditation, that's really big for me to center myself and to ask God to to deliver me from the fear,
Mm.
and to allow me to like gravitate towards the love as opposed to the fear. Yeah, that can be a huge distraction for us when we're closed up and scared instead of open. Yeah, yeah.
And really, I like that when you say you're closed up, and you can be closed up in so many ways, where we don't get out. And I mean, like, by getting out, I mean, like, experiencing the world around us. We shut ourselves off from our family. We shut ourselves off from love from our family, love from people who actually want to love us. So I like that. Opening up ourselves is good. And fear is a big noise. I would high five you right now.
Virtual high five.
Right. So yes. Oh my God. I know we are drawing towards the end. We have some stuff I know we want to talk about. You have a book that you're working on?
Yes, I'm working on it. It is not done, but I am getting there. It is. It's for women who are going through a breakup, and
Mm-hmm.
so I'm really excited about it. My first book is kind of just like about love and self-love and self-care, and it's a little more general. Whereas this book is going to be all about healing from a breakup. I figured I'm a breakup coach. It would probably make sense for me to write a book about breakups, and so that's what I'm working on right now. We'll see. We'll see when it comes out. I'm not sure exactly when. I think talking about self-compassion. I think I'm allowing myself to enjoy this creative process and be like gracious to myself, and like this book does not have to be 100% perfect, and it doesn't have to be done by such and such dates, and I'm really just allowing myself to enjoy the process of writing it. And honestly, it's almost done. I'm working on the last chapter actually, so it's been a lot more fun than the last book, I think. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited to encourage some women who are hurting. Their hearts are hurting. So
Good. Well,
yeah.
I'm excited about the things we talked here. If anybody has questions, please feel free to post those questions on the chat. I believe that we should be able to see them. And then or Twitter, or even on the website, or Facebook. So this has really been most insightful. And I have a post here from Diane Hooks. Thanks for watching, Diane. It says, it's good to hear about ways Akirah has let go and allowed in new attributes, in which develops a lifestyle that expresses your inner self to the outer world.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what I'm going for.
Yeah, most definitely. And I know that it's so it's just so imperative that if those who are watching, if you really liked what you liked, what we talked about here tonight, we would love to host more things. Carmella Marie like to host more things like this online. We know we can't travel the country, so we can bring it to you here live via YouTube. But we want to, and the reason why I like doing this, and even though I make hair care products, as a result, bam, I make hair care products, it's never just about the hair. we went natural, even if you're not natural, but just either, you know, embracing your natural hair, because we have people who aren't natural there, but embracing your beauty as a woman, as a Black woman, as a someone, in women in general, we're just unfortunately looked down upon, looked and treated differently for that. But I am so all about this journey of self-discovery, self-awareness, self-love, and I don't get everything right, but as I am going on this, and we have speakers like Akirah and Siobhan and others, we want to talk about things. So send me some information on what you would like to talk about, because it's never just about hair. It starts there. You know, we talked about that in the get-go. You know, you go natural, and then you find out who hates your natural hair and how strong you are as a woman. And how to overcome those people's perceptions of you, because for so long you've only done what everybody else has done. So
Yeah.
going against the grain. And even though natural, people keep saying natural hair is a fad, it's not a fad. It's not a fad.
No, I don't believe that, because there's so much more to it than just what the hair looks like, you know? It's like, it's a lifestyle, it's a way of being, you know? Not that folks who aren't natural can't experience, you know, the same kind of self-love and acceptance. But this is so much more than the fact that I have a little puff, you know? This is just the visual representation of a lot of hard work, a lot of adversity, and just, gosh, living in an environment where I wasn't accepted, I wasn't considered beautiful. You know, this is big. This is a symbol of something a lot bigger than just this little puff here, you know? This is a statement, you know? And yeah, so this is not just about the hair. This is not a fad for me. This is me. Like, this is me, like, my vulnerability out there. And me being in a place where I can share that with the world, regardless of what they're going to think or what, you know, what their opinions might be. I'm still going to rock this, because this is a symbol of something super, super important to me. This is a symbol of who I am in here. Yeah, not a fad.
Not a fad. It's a hard thing. We love our hair. We really, really do. And in that loving of our hair and taking an extra time in the morning to get that puff just right, or those twists of pop, we are saying, I deserve a little bit more extra time. My hair, even though it's your hair, you're giving yourself that extra moment to pull it together. Even though it's a physical pull together, it also, and I never really understood this till I was grown, so hindsight's 2020, but my mama always said, if you look good, you'll feel good. And she was right. So I'm gonna give her kudos. And then my aunt, I'm not wearing much color tonight, but my aunt always pointed out that I wore black, blue, cream, brown, a lot of dark colors, so I wouldn't stand out. So I want to stand out. My hair and in my dress, I want to stand out. Why not?
You don't. I don't have to hide. I don't have to hide. There's nothing to hide from. I am who I am. You either love it or you don't, but I'm gonna love it regardless.
Right.
Yeah.
So this has been awesome, and I know we can go on, and it'll be 11 o'clock. I'm really restraining myself. You have no like,
no more talking.
Right. But before we go, again, my name is Carmella. My website is Carmella Marie. Even though I sell hair care products, we are all about self-love, empowerment of women, and going beyond just hair, because and I do sell hair care products. That just happens to be what I do. But we really, the whole purpose is definitely to help women and to empower them. And we want to do more stuff like this and some other stuff, even in regards more so to hair, but we're going to tie it in because we're worth it. We are definitely worth it.
Yeah, we are.
But Akirah, her website is Akirah, and I spelled Akirah Robinson. And check out her blogs, check out all the things she's wrote, buy her book, and then and tell us how we did tonight. Tell us what you want to hear more of from Carmella Marie. And let's talk. Tell us, tell Akirah what you want to, see her write some stuff on.
Yes.
And we hope to see you for our next Let's Talk Live.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you all for joining us. And Let's Talk Live is a hashtag. Y'all have a good evening. Anything else you want to say, Akirah?
No, thanks for having me. This was awesome. I had so much fun. Thank you.
I'm glad. Thank you for coming on to, I guess you want to say the show. All right, thank you. All right, well, good night, everybody. Good night, Akirah.
Bye.
Bye.